I rushed to the hospital to see my son in the operating room. Suddenly, a nurse grabbed my arm and whispered, "Quick! Ma'am, hide and trust me. It is a trap." My hand started shaking, but I did exactly what she said. And 10 minutes later, I froze when I saw him. My name is Emily. I am 68 years old, and I never imagined I would end up spying on my own son from a medical supply closet. With my heart beating so hard I thought it would give me away. But that day, that damn Tuesday in October, I understood that a mother's love can make you blind until someone forces you to open your eyes. It all started with a call at 7 in the morning. I was making coffee on the stove, the kind that boils slowly with a cinnamon stick, when my cell phone vibrated on the kitchen table. The number was unknown. I almost did not answer, but something in my chest told me to do it. "Mrs. Emily Fisher?" A male voice, serious, hurried. "Yes, it is me. This is City General Hospital. Your son Michael has just been admitted to the emergency room. It is serious. We need you to come immediately." The air escaped me. My legs felt weak. The phone almost fell from my hands. What happened to him? Is he okay? Can I talk to him? "There is no time, ma'am. Come now. Ask for the surgery area." They hung up. I do not remember putting on my shoes. I do not remember locking the door. I only remember running toward the avenue, raising my trembling arm to stop a taxi, and repeating like a prayer, "Please God, not my son, not my Michael." The ride was torture. Every red light seemed like an eternity. I saw my reflection in the taxi window, an older woman, with her hair half up, no makeup, with her blouse buttoned wrong. But I did not care. I just wanted to get there. When the automatic doors of the hospital opened, I entered like a soul carried by the devil. My sandals echoed on the shiny floor. The smell of disinfectant hit my nose. I approached the reception desk, almost breathless. My son, Michael Fisher. They told me he is in surgery. The receptionist looked at me confused. "Fisher? Let me check," while she checked her computer. I felt the world slowing down. Every second was unbearable. And then, from my left, a firm hand took my arm. It was a young nurse, about 30 years old, with a mint green uniform and an intense look I will never forget. Her badge said, "Rachel Bennett, General Nursing." She leaned close to my ear and whispered fast, urgent, "Mrs. Fisher, listen to me well. Your son is not in surgery. He is not in grave condition. This is a trap. Trust me. Come with me. Now." My brain was not processing. A trap. What was she talking about? But something in her eyes, a mixture of compassion and determination, made me obey. She pulled me gently toward a side hallway, away from the reception. We walked fast. My legs barely responded. She opened a door that said "Staff Only" and put me in a small room full of boxes with gloves, syringes, folded sheets. "Stay here. Do not make noise. And trust me." But my son, your son is perfectly fine, and in 10 minutes you are going to understand everything. She closed the door. I stayed there, in almost total darkness, with only a crack of light coming in from under the door. The smell of latex and alcohol made me dizzy. My hands were shaking. My breathing was a disaster. What was happening? Why would Michael be fine if they had called me saying he was in grave condition? And then I heard voices, familiar voices. I peeked just barely through the crack in the door, and what I saw broke my soul. There he was, my Michael, walking calmly down the hospital hallway, without a single scratch, without pain, without anything. He was dressed in a spotless white shirt and jeans, and by his side, Ashley, my daughter-in-law, with her perfect straight hair, her bright red nails, and that smile that always seemed too calculated to me. They were talking to someone, a man in a white coat, and they were laughing. They were laughing. My son, the son I thought was dying, was laughing like it was nothing. I felt the floor opening under my feet, I wanted to go out, scream at him, ask him what the hell was happening. But Rachel's voice resonated in my head, "Trust me," and I stayed still, watching, listening. Because what came next was worse than I could have ever imagined. But before continuing, if this story already has your heart in a fist, subscribe to the channel Elderly Stories so you can continue knowing real stories of women who stood up when everything seemed lost. Now, let me tell you what I heard that day. Because when the truth hits you, there is no turning back. While I remained hidden in that dark room, with my heart beating in my ears, my mind began to rewind. 8 months, barely 8 months had passed since my life split in two. David, my husband of 43 years, died of a massive heart attack one February morning. We were having breakfast together, sweet bread and hot chocolate, when he simply put his hand to his chest and collapsed on the table. There was no time for goodbyes. No last words, only the atrocious silence of watching him leave without being able to do anything. The first months were a hell of loneliness. Our house in the suburbs, that big 2-story house with the garden and purple flowers climbing the walls, became a mausoleum of memories. Every corner screamed his absence. The rocking chair where he read the newspaper, his coffee cup forgotten on the bookshelf, the smell of his shaving lotion, which still floated in the bathroom. The house was worth $850,000, according to the notary's appraisal. David also left me $50,000 in savings, the result of a lifetime of honest work as an accountant. We were not rich, but we never lacked anything. And now, all that was only mine. Michael appeared at the funeral with Ashley. I had not seen them for months. He worked at a marketing company, and she was an influencer, or so she said. I never really understood what she did, but I always saw her with expensive clothes and that air of superiority that made me uncomfortable. "Mom, you cannot stay alone in this big house." Michael told me while we watched his father's casket go down. His eyes were dry. He did not cry during the entire funeral. That should have alerted me, but I was too broken to notice the signals. "I am going to be fine, son. I just need time." "No, Mom. Dad would not have wanted you to be alone. Ashley and I are going to come live with you. Temporarily, just until you stabilize." Temporary. That word, I should have carved it in stone. They arrived a week later with suitcases, boxes, and my granddaughter Lily, a 3-year-old girl with brown curls and huge eyes. The little one was the only good thing about all that. She clung to my leg the first day and said, "Grandma Emily, you smell like cookies." I melted. At first, everything seemed normal. Michael worked from home in what had been David's office. Ashley spent hours in front of her computer recording herself talking about makeup and clothes. I took care of Lily. I cooked. I tried to keep myself busy so as not to think about the void. But things started to change, subtly, like when water starts to boil without you realizing it. First, it was my room, the master bedroom I shared with David for decades. "Mom, do you mind if we switch to your room?" Ashley asked me one afternoon, with that sweet voice she used when she wanted something. "It is just that we need space for Michael's computer and my recording equipment. And you? Well, you do not need so much space, right?" Something inside me resisted, but I saw Michael behind her, nodding, waiting. And me? I just wanted my son to be okay, for him not to leave, for him not to leave me completely alone. "It is fine," I whispered. "I will move to the room downstairs, the guest room, small, with a twin bed and a window that faced the backyard, the room where our housekeeper used to sleep years ago. It is temporary, Mom, just while we sort everything out. Temporary." I moved with my things and boxes. I watched how Ashley redecorated my room with new gray sheets, elegant cushions, and a giant mirror with lights. They erased every trace of David, every trace of me. Then came the other things. "Mom, you better store your things in the downstairs pantry. We need the one upstairs for Ashley's supplements. Mom, Could you not use the living room when we have visitors? It is just that work people are coming and, we do not want interruptions. Mom, do you mind if we put a lock on the pantry? It is just that a lot of food is wasted and we have to watch the budget. Every request was a small death. Every, do you mind, was actually an order in disguise. And I kept saying yes, because I was afraid of being left alone, afraid that they would leave, afraid of admitting that my own son was displacing me from my own house. But the worst had not arrived yet. One day, looking for some old photographs of David, I entered what used to be my room. They were not there. I opened the dresser drawer looking for the family album, and then I saw it. My pearl necklace. The pearls my grandmother gave me on my wedding day. 18 perfect pink pearls, strung on white gold. I had kept them in my jewelry box my whole life, promising myself that one day I would give them to my granddaughter. They were there, in Ashley's jewelry box, among her cheap earrings and her costume bracelets. I took them with trembling hands. They still smelled like my perfume, but now they were mixed with her things, as if they belonged to her. I said nothing. I put them back there and left the room feeling that I had just lost something more than jewelry. That night, lying in my little bed in the guest room, I heard laughter upstairs. Ashley and Michael were celebrating something. Music, glasses clinking, and me, in my own house. I felt like an intruder, like a tolerated servant, like a nuisance. But I still did not know that the worst was just beginning. How did I go from being the owner of my house to feeling invisible in it? Wait, because what comes is even more painful. Michael was not always like this. I need you to understand. The man who now treated me like old furniture was not the boy I raised, or maybe he was, and I never wanted to see it. My son was the center of my universe for 35 years. Only child. He arrived after 5 years of failed attempts and 3 losses that almost destroyed me. When I finally held him in my arms, I swore he would never lack anything, and I fulfilled that. Maybe too well. David always told me, "Emily, you are spoiling him. That boy needs limits." But I could not do it. Every time Michael cried, I ran. Every time he asked for something, I got it. Every time he got into trouble, I fixed it. When he failed a semester in college, I got a professor friend of David's to pass him. When he crashed the car at 22, we paid for the damages without asking him how it happened. When he quit 3 jobs in a row because the bosses did not value him, we kept supporting him until he found something worthy of him. David tried to set limits, but I always interceded. He is our only son. What are we going to do? Leave him to his fate? And then he met Ashley. She appeared 6 years ago at a family dinner, tall, thin, with that straight hair that fell like a waterfall over her shoulders and a smile that showed all her teeth. She wore a tight wine-colored dress and very high heels. She sat at the table and started talking non-stop about her digital projects and her personal brand strategies. David and I exchanged glances. Something did not fit, but Michael looked at her as if she were a gift from heaven. Mom, Ashley is different. She understands me. She pushes me to be better. Better. That word hurt me without knowing why. They got married the following year. An expensive wedding and an elegant garden at the lake that we paid for completely. $25,000. Ashley insisted it had to be memorable because her followers expected quality content. From that day on, Michael started to change, or maybe I started to notice it. He stopped visiting us so much. When he came, he no longer sat to talk with me in the kitchen like before. He answered the phone in a hurry. "Yes, Mom." "Uh-huh. We will talk later. Ashley is calling me." And when David died, when I needed my son the most, he was absent, physically present but emotionally miles away, now that they lived in my house. The transformation was impossible to ignore. The Michael I knew used to hug me when he arrived from work. This Michael barely greeted me. He went straight up to what was now his room and locked himself in with Ashley. The Michael I knew asked me how my day had been. This Michael did not even look up from his cell phone when I spoke to him. One afternoon, I was making pot roast in the kitchen, the roast he loved since he was a child, and he came in looking for water. I dared to ask him, "Son, is something wrong? You seem distant." He looked at me as if I had spoken in another language. "No, Mom. Everything is fine. It is just that I have a lot of work. It is just that. We hardly talk anymore. And Mom. Do not start with the drama, okay? I am not a child anymore. I have responsibilities. Ashley and I have plans. Plans. They never included me. Ashley had him completely manipulated, but he did not see it, or he did not want to see it. One night I heard them arguing upstairs. I was in my little room reading when their voices came through the ceiling. "Michael, your mom is already old. This house is too much for her. The logical thing would be to sell it and for her to go to a smaller place, or to a nursing home." My blood froze. I do not know Ashley. It is the house where I grew up, where my dad lived. Exactly. Lived. Past tense. You and I need to think about our future, about Lily. This property is worth almost $1 million. We could sell it. Give a part to your mom so she settles somewhere else and we finally have something of our own. Silence. Let me think about it. Let me think about it. No, you are crazy. No, I would never do that to my mother. Just let me think about it. I cried in silence that night, with the pillow covering my mouth so they would not hear me. The next day, Michael came into the kitchen while I was washing dishes. He stood next to me, looking out the window. "Mom, have you ever thought about simplifying your life? You know, this house is very big, lots of maintenance. At your age, you should be resting." My hand slipped. A plate fell into the sink with a dry noise. "This is my house, Michael. Here I built my life with your father. I know Mom, but Dad is no longer here. And you? You could be more comfortable in a small apartment. No stairs. No garden to take care of." I turned to look him in the eyes. I looked for my son there, the boy who hugged me when he had nightmares, the young man who gave me flowers every Mother's Day. I did not find him. I only saw a man repeating words that were not his, a puppet with the strings well tied. "I am not going to sell my house." His jaw tensed. For the first time, I saw a flash of something dark in his eyes, something that scared me. "Whatever you want, Mom. It was just a suggestion." He left the kitchen, and I stayed there, with wet hands and a broken heart. Finally understanding the truth. My son was no longer mine. Ashley had turned him into another person, and the worst was that he let her. But if you think that was the most painful thing, wait until you hear how I became a servant in my own house, because the humiliation was just beginning. The first time, Ashley asked me to make her breakfast. I thought it was a normal request, a daughter-in-law asking her mother-in-law for help. Nothing out of this world. Emily. "Would you make me some scrambled eggs? I have an important video call and I do not have time." I made the eggs, with ham, just like she liked them. Toast, freshly squeezed orange juice. I went up the stairs with the tray. I knocked on the door of my room. "Come in." I entered. Ashley was sitting in front of her computer, perfectly made up, with an impeccable white blouse. She did not even turn to look at me. "Leave it there, on the nightstand." "Thanks," as if I were the employee. I went down the stairs feeling a knot in my stomach. But I told myself, it is just today. She is busy. The next day she asked for the same thing, and the next, and the next. By the second week, she did not ask anymore. She simply expected me to bring up breakfast at 9 o'clock sharp. If I was 5 minutes late, I heard her voice from upstairs. "Emily, is it going to take long?" And Michael never said anything. He sat at the table, ate what I prepared for him, and went up to lock himself in his improvised office. But that was only the beginning. One Tuesday, her friends arrived. 3 women just as dressed up as her, with designer bags and that air of someone who has never washed a dish in their life. They settled in my living room as if they were the owners. "Emily, can you bring us coffee?" Ashley yelled from the sofa. "And some cookies, please?" I made coffee. I served the cookies I had baked the day before on the pretty porcelain plate my mother gave me. I took it to the living room with my hands shaking with contained rage. "Here you go." One of her friends looked me up and down. "Oh, how lucky you are, Ash, having trusted help living in the house. It is so hard to find honest people these days. Trusted help." She called me trusted help in my own house. Ashley laughed. She did not defend me. She did not say, "She is not the maid. She is my mother-in-law. She is the owner of this house." Nothing. She just laughed and kept chatting as if I were invisible. I went down to the kitchen. I closed the door, and I let the tears fall in silence over the sink. The humiliations became routine. "Emily, Lily's clothes are dirty. Can you wash them?" "Emily, we ran out of toilet paper. Go buy some." "Emily, visitors are coming today. I need you to clean the living room and prepare snacks." Every order hurt like a slap, but the worst was that Michael allowed it. He saw everything and said absolutely nothing. One afternoon, I was mopping the living room floor, my living room, when I heard Ashley talking on the phone on the balcony. "Yes, Mom, almost. Michael is convinced that the best thing is to sell. The old lady just needs to sign the papers." "No, it has not been difficult. We have her well controlled. We took away the pantry key so she does not waste food. We put her in the guest room and give her tasks all day so she feels useful. She thinks we need her. She is pathetic, honestly." The mop fell from my hands. Pathetic. She called me pathetic, and I was still there. Cleaning, cooking, enduring. Why? Because I was afraid. Afraid that if I complained, Michael would leave forever. Afraid of being left completely alone in that house full of ghosts. Afraid of admitting that I had lost my son. But the straw that broke the camel's back came one Sunday in November. It was my birthday, 68 years old, the first one without David. I woke up with a heavy heart, but with a small hope. Maybe Michael remembered. Maybe there would be a hug, a congratulation, something. I went down to the kitchen. No one. I made coffee and sat alone at the table. Hours passed. Michael came out of his room at noon, went straight to the refrigerator, took out a soda and went back up, without looking at me. Ashley came down at 2 in the afternoon, perfectly dressed as always. "Emily, did you make lunch yet? I am hungry." I looked at her. I hoped she would remember, that she would say something. Nothing. "I am going to make something." I mumbled. I cooked. I served. They ate, they left, and I stayed there, in the kitchen, looking at the calendar on the wall with the date marked, November 11th, my birthday. No one remembered, no one. That night, lying in my little bed in the guest room, something inside me broke, but not like before. This time, I did not cry. This time, I felt something different. Rage. Pure and clean rage that burned my chest. How much more was I going to take? Until when was I going to allow them to treat me like this? At what moment had I stopped being Emily Fisher, owner of her life, to become a rag that everyone stepped on? David would never have allowed this, and I was betraying him by allowing it. I sat up in bed, I turned on the light, and I made a decision. If they wanted to play dirty, I would learn the rules. If they wanted to take everything from me, they would have to pass over my dead body. Because one thing was to be kind, another very different thing was to be an idiot. And Emily Fisher had been an idiot long enough. The city park became my refuge. Every morning, after serving breakfast and cleaning the kitchen, I went out with the excuse of walking for a while. Ashley barely looked up from her cell phone. Michael did not even notice. I sat on the same bench, under the big ash tree, and watched life go by. Ladies with their grandkids, elderly couples holding hands, hot dog vendors, normality, something I had lost without realizing it. It was there that I met Mr. Arthur, a man of about 75 years, with completely white hair, thick glasses, and a carved wooden cane that he did not seem to really need. He always carried a folded newspaper under his arm and a bag with crumbs for the sparrows. The first day we only exchanged greetings. The second, a comment about the weather. The third, we sat on the same bench without saying anything, simply sharing the silence. After a week, we started to talk. "Do you live nearby, ma'am?" 3 blocks away. "The house with the purple flowers." "Ah, I know it. Beautiful property. Do you live alone?" And there I broke. I do not know why. Maybe because he was a stranger. Maybe because I could no longer bear the weight alone. "I live with my son, my daughter-in-law, and my granddaughter. But yes, I feel very alone." Mr. Arthur said nothing. He just nodded, as if he understood perfectly. The following days, little by little, I told him everything, the humiliations, the silent dispossession, how they had turned me into a servant in my own house, how my son looked at me without seeing me. He listened without interrupting, without judging, and when I finished, after almost 2 weeks of venting, he said something that changed my life. "Mrs. Fisher, do you know the difference between a victim and a survivor? No. The victim waits for others to change. The survivor takes control of her own story." He adjusted his glasses. "I was a lawyer for 40 years. I specialized in family law. And believe me when I tell you this, what they are doing to you has a name. It is called financial abuse and elder abuse." The words hit me. I had never thought of it that way, but he was right. And what can I do? He is my son. Precisely for that reason, you must act. Because if you do not do it now, when they try to take everything from you legally, it will be too late. He leaned toward me. "Do you trust me?" Something in his look calmed me. I nodded, then listened very carefully. Mr. Arthur explained that I needed to document everything, every conversation, every humiliation, every plan I heard, and above all, I had to legally protect my assets before they made any official move. "Do you have a cell phone that they do not know about?" "I have David's old one. I kept it in a box. Perfect. Charge it. Record conversations. Take photos of documents. Everything you can without them suspecting. But is it not illegal? In your own house, protecting your own assets from fraud. No, it is legitimate legal defense." He gave me the name of a trusted notary lawyer, Mr. Roberts, with an office downtown. "Tell him Mr. Arthur sent you. He will know what to do." I returned home that day with my heart beating differently. For the first time in months, I felt something similar to hope. That night, while everyone slept, I took David's old cell phone out of the box in the closet. I plugged it in to charge in my room, covering it with a towel. The screen lit up with the photo he had as a background, us two on vacation, smiling under a palm tree. "Forgive me, my love," I whispered. "I should have done this sooner." The following days, I became a spy in my own house. I learned to keep the cell phone hidden in my apron pocket, to activate the recorder when I heard them talking, to take discreet photos of papers they left on the table. And what I discovered froze my blood. One afternoon, while cleaning the study, what used to be David's office, I found documents printed between the pages of a magazine. I recognized the logo, a law firm in the city. I took photos fast, with trembling hands. It was a request to declare me incompetent due to cognitive deterioration. They had appointments with a private psychiatrist, a calendar with dates marked, and below, with Michael's handwriting, 6 months maximum. I felt the floor moving under my feet, but I did not cry. This time, I took the photos and put everything back exactly as it was. The next week, I went to the lawyer. Mr. Roberts received me in his elegant office. He was a man in his 50s, formal but kind. "Mr. Arthur told me about you, Mrs. Fisher. Tell me everything." I showed him the photos, the recordings, everything. His expression darkened. This is serious, but we have time to protect you. We made several legal moves that Michael and Ashley never imagined. First, I shielded the property with an irrevocable trust. The house was still mine, but no one could sell or transfer it without my express consent before 3 witnesses and a favorable psychological evaluation. Second, I updated my will with very specific clauses. If they tried to declare me incompetent fraudulently, they automatically lost any inheritance right. Third, I signed powers of attorney in favor of my niece Danielle, my sister's daughter, who was a lawyer in another state. She did not know what was happening either, but when I called her and told her, she flew to see me the next day. "Aunt, why didn't you tell me before?" Her eyes were full of tears of rage. "Because I was ashamed, honey, ashamed to admit that my own son was doing this to me." Danielle hugged me tight. "You are not alone anymore, with everything legally protected." Mr. Arthur suggested something else. "Now comes the hard part, Emily. You need them to lower their guard, to believe they won. Only then will they get confident and show their true intentions. Do you want me to pretend dementia? Not complete dementia, just forgetfulness, confusion. Nothing exaggerated, just enough for them to think their plan is working. It was the hardest thing I have done in my life, pretending I was falling apart when inside I was more lucid than ever. I started forgetting things. Where had I put the keys? What day was it? I repeated questions. I stared at the wall like I was lost. I saw the look of satisfaction in Ashley's eyes every time I got confused. Poor Emily, she told Michael one night, without knowing I was listening with the cell phone recording in my pocket. You see, I was right. She is deteriorating. In a few more months, we can proceed without guilt. Without guilt. As if declaring me crazy to rob me was an act of charity. But the true stroke of luck came 2 weeks later. I heard them planning the emergency, the fake call, the hospital, the accomplice doctor who was Ashley's cousin, the power of attorney documents they would make me sign in the desperation of the moment. I recorded it all, every word, every laugh, every detail of their perfect plan, and when they hung up, satisfied with their brilliant strategy, I remained there, in my little room, looking at the cell phone with all the proof I needed. I looked at myself in the mirror that night. The woman looking back at me was no longer the same one who hid in the guest room months ago. This woman had dry eyes, a clenched jaw, and a plan. "You want to play?" I said to myself in a low voice. "Then let's play." And that was how I ended up at that damn hospital, running like a fool to save a son who was never in danger. But this time I knew exactly what was happening. I returned to the exact moment, to the supply closet, to the darkness that smelled of disinfectant and latex, to my heart beating against my ribs as if it wanted to escape. I was there, hidden like a criminal in my own tragedy, watching through the crack in the door how my son, my Michael, walked calmly down the hospital hallway with that smile I knew so well, the smile of when he thought everything turned out perfect for him. Ashley was by his side, walking with those red heels that cost more than a week's groceries. She wore a tight black dress, as if she were going to a cocktail party and not a hospital. High ponytail, bright red lips, perfect, as always. And next to them, a man in a white coat, 40-something, trimmed beard, stethoscope hanging from his neck. The 3 of them were laughing, like old friends sharing a private joke. My hand squeezed David's cell phone inside my sweater pocket. Recording. I had activated it before Rachel put me in the room. "Are you nervous?" Ashley asked. "Tuck a strand of hair behind her ear." "A little," Michael admitted. "What if it does not work?" The man in the coat, the supposed doctor, laughed. "It is going to work, cousin. I told you it is foolproof. The old lady is going to arrive desperate, hysterical. Without thinking twice, you throw yourself on the bed, turn pale, moan a little. I go out very serious to give her the diagnosis: surgical emergency. We need $50,000 immediately for the procedure, and while she processes the information, you put the power of attorney papers in front of her. Mom, just sign it. It is to speed up the insurance paperwork. Sign. We transfer the money. And when she realizes the operation was never necessary, it is already too late. Ashley clapped softly, like an excited child. You are a genius, Robert. That is why you pay me cousin. Robert winked. Besides, with how senile the lady is lately, she is not even going to remember well what she signed. We will tell her it was the shock of the moment. Michael ran his hand through his hair. He seemed uncomfortable. Only seemed. And if she gets angry later? If she gets difficult? Oh, Michael, for God's sake. Ashley rolled her eyes. We already talked about this 1,000 times. With the $50,000, we pay the lawyer to speed up the disability thing. In 2 months, she is declared. In 3, the house is ours. In 4, we put her in a nice nursing home, one of those with gardens, and we start our real life, without her being in the way. It is my mom, Ashley. She is a nuisance, Michael, and you know it. Her voice hardened. Or have you forgotten how she treated us before? Always interfering in our relationship, always giving her opinion, always reminding you that the house is hers. Well, now she will pay for making us feel less. Lie. I never treated them badly. I never interfered in their relationship beyond normal. But Ashley had rewritten the story in my son's head until he believed her version. Besides, she continued, with a softer voice, taking Michael's hand, think about Lily. Think about our future, about everything we can give her when we sell that house. $850,000, my love. Can you imagine? A new condo downtown, new car, trips, private schools for the girl, everything we deserve. Michael nodded slowly, and in that moment I knew I had lost him completely. The boy I raised, the one who cried when he saw a sad movie, the one who hugged me and told me, "You're the best mom in the world." That boy was dead, and this man, this stranger, had taken his place. "What time did you say she would arrive?" Robert asked, checking his watch. "I called her 40 minutes ago." Michael answered, "She should be here by now. I told her it was urgent, that it was serious. Perfect. Then let's go to room 3. Everything is ready there. The bed, the monitors, the fake IVs. The whole theater." They started walking down the hallway, toward me. I pressed myself against the wall of the room, holding my breath. They passed inches from the door. I heard their steps moving away. And then Rachel appeared. She opened the door slowly. Her eyes shone with that mixture of compassion and urgency I saw from the beginning. "Did you hear everything?" I nodded, unable to speak. The tears finally came out, but not of sadness, of rage, of a fury so big that my whole body shook. "I recorded it," I whispered, showing her the cell phone. Rachel smiled. "Good. Now listen to me carefully. My shift ends in 10 minutes. I am going to go out with you through the staff emergency door. They are waiting for you at reception and in room 3. They are not going to see you leave. Do you have somewhere to go?" "Yes, I have. I have people waiting for me. Perfect." Rachel took out her cell phone and took photos of the 3 of them from afar, discreetly. "Here, in case you need more evidence. My mother went through something similar 5 years ago. Her own sister tricked her to take her house. Since then, when I detect these situations, I act. I am not going to allow what happened to my mom to happen to another lady." I hugged her. Tight. "Thank you. Thank you for saving me. Do not thank me yet. Save yourself. Go with those recordings to the authorities, and do not let them get away with it." We left through the employee door. The fresh afternoon air hit my face. November in the city, gray sky, smell of approaching rain. I walked 2 blocks before stopping a taxi. I gave him the address of Mr. Arthur's office. During the entire ride, The cell phone vibrated in my purse. Michael calling. Once, twice, 5, 10. Messages from Ashley. Emily, where are you? Did you get to the hospital? Michael is looking for you. He is worried. Answer, please. Lies. All lies. I arrived at Mr. Arthur's office. He was waiting for me with Danielle. As soon as they saw me enter, they knew I had what we needed. I have it all, I said, taking out the cell phone. Every word, the whole plan. Danielle played the recordings. Her face hardened with every second that passed. When it finished, she hit the table with her palm. Those bastards. Aunt, this is enough to proceed legally. We can file a complaint right now. Wait, said Mr. Arthur, raising his hand. Not yet. Why not? Because if we file the complaint now, they are going to deny everything. They are going to say the recording is fake, that Emily is confused, that she misunderstood. And even if we have evidence, the legal process will be long and painful. He took off his glasses and looked directly at me. Emily, do you trust me? Yes. Then let's do this right. Let them think they won, but just a little longer. And when they are celebrating their victory, that is when we hit them. With everything. In front of everyone. So there is no doubt who they really are. Danielle was going to protest, but I raised my hand. You are right. I want everyone to see. The family, the friends, everyone. I want Michael to understand exactly what he did and have nowhere to hide. Mr. Arthur smiled. Then let me explain the plan. And there, in that office, with the sky darkening outside and my heart beating with a mixture of fear and determination, we planned the end of the story. My end, the one I would write. They wanted to play tricks, but they did not know I had just learned the rules of the game, and this time, I was going to win. I got home almost at 8 at night. The lights were on. From outside, I heard upset voices. I stopped a moment in the garden. I breathed deep and entered, playing the role of my life. I opened the door, trembling. It was not hard. My nerves were still shattered. Michael was in the living room, pacing from one side to the other with the cell phone in his hand. Ashley was sitting on the sofa, with her arms crossed and that face of annoyance I knew so well. Mom, where the hell were you? Michael practically yelled at me. I called you 1,000 times. You went to the hospital and disappeared. We were extremely worried. Extremely worried. What a big word to cover a lie. I put my hand to my chest, panting. Son. They told me you were in serious condition. I ran to the hospital, but I did not find you. I looked for you everywhere. I asked at reception. No one knew anything. Because they discharged me fast, Mom. I told you in the message. He lied without blinking. It was a false alarm. Chest pain that turned out to be gas. But I need treatment. The doctor says it is something with the heart, that I need urgent studies. There it was. The next move of the plan, of the heart. Oh my God, my eyes filled with real tears. But not for his lie, for confirming that he really was capable of this. What do you need? Anything, son, anything. I saw the shine in Ashley's eyes. The smile she tried to hide. They are expensive studies, Mom. The private cardiologist charges $50,000 for the whole package. Special electrocardiograms, monitoring, tests. But insurance does not cover everything. Mom, it is my life. It is urgent. He came closer. He took my hands. The same hands I held when he learned to walk. I need you to help me, please. The theater was perfect. I almost believed it. It is okay. It is okay, son. Tomorrow we go to the bank. I withdraw the money you need. No, Mom. It is not that simple. Ashley got up from the sofa, approaching with a brown folder in her hands. The doctor needs guarantees. He asked for you to sign some documents, a temporary power of attorney, so Michael can authorize procedures in case of emergency. You know, in case something happens to you or you cannot get there fast. She extended the papers. I saw them. I recognized the format. Mr. Arthur had shown me one just like it that same afternoon. It was not a simple medical power of attorney. It was a broad power over my bank accounts and properties. I do not know. It is a lot of papers. I acted confused, touching my head. Mom, please, it is not the time to be difficult. Michael's voice had a tone of studied desperation. Literally, my life depends on this. I looked him in the eyes. I looked for a shred of guilt, of doubt, of humanity. Nothing. It is okay, I whispered. Where do I sign? Ashley practically jumped with emotion, but she controlled herself. Here, here, and here. She pointed with her perfect red nail. I took the pen they offered me. My hands were shaking, this time from contained rage, and I signed. But not the real papers. Mr. Arthur had prepared fake copies, identical, perfect, without any legal value. I had brought them with me in my purse, and in a moment of distraction, when Ashley went to the kitchen for water, I had swapped the documents. I signed papers that were useless, but they did not know it. Ready, I said, handing them over. Ashley reviewed them quickly. She smiled. Perfect, Emily. Thank you. Michael is going to be fine thanks to you. That night, we had dinner in silence. I barely tasted a bite. They did not eat either. They were anxious, restless, probably thinking about what they would do with the money. I went up to my little room early. I lay in the dark with David's cell phone in my hand. I sent a message to Danielle. I signed. They fell for it. Her answer was immediate. Excellent. Tomorrow begins phase 2. The following days were constant acting. Every morning I got up, made breakfast, cleaned, took care of Lily, like always, but now with a purpose. Michael and Ashley were euphoric. They believed they had won. I heard them talking on the phone with their lawyer, the real one, not the actor from the hospital. Yes, attorney. She already signed everything. How long do the procedures take? 2 months? Perfect. Ashley started looking for houses on the internet. I saw them in the living room, on my tablet, commenting out loud as if I did not exist. Look at this one, my love. 3 bedrooms downtown, $1.5 million. With what we get from this house, it covers it perfectly, and we have left over for the car. Michael looked over her shoulder. It is nice, but look for something with a terrace. I want a terrace. They talked about the future, their future, in which I did not exist other than as a resolved procedure. One afternoon, while I was ironing clothes in the laundry room, Ashley came in talking on the phone. She did not realize I was there, behind the hanging sheets. Yes, Mom, almost. I tell you in 3 months maximum everything is resolved. No, she does not suspect anything. She is more gone every day. Michael already spoke with the psychiatrist. He is going to certify that she is not in her right mind. Uh-huh, sure. We are going to give her something. We are not monsters. We will rent her a little apartment or put her in a home. But the house is ours. Because we deserve it, Mom. Do you know everything we have endured? Living with a bitter old woman who spends her time reminding us it is her house. I bit my lip until it bled so as not to go out and scream at her. But I breathed. I counted to 10, and I kept ironing as if nothing. Meanwhile, Mr. Arthur. Danielle and I worked in silence. We presented all the evidence before a judge, the recordings, the photos, the falsified documents, Rachel's testimony, everything. The formal complaint was filed for fraud, extortion, financial abuse, and conspiracy to falsely declare an elderly person incompetent. The judge reviewed everything and issued an order, but we would not execute it yet. First would come the final trap. We need them to feel completely safe, Danielle explained in a secret meeting at her hotel, that they do something public, that they expose themselves in front of witnesses. Like what? I asked. Mr. Arthur smiled, like a party, and that was how the plan was born. I suggested to Michael, with a shy voice like the submissive Emily they expected, that we have a family gathering, so they see you are well, son. After the scare at the hospital, let's invite the uncles, the cousins. Ashley loved the idea. Of course, it was the perfect opportunity to show herself as the attentive daughter-in-law, the one who took care of the poor, senile mother-in-law. It is a great idea, Emily. I will take care of everything. You do not worry. We set the date. 2 weeks later, a Saturday. Surprise party for your belated birthday, Mom, said Michael, as if he really cared. My birthday that they had completely forgotten. During those 14 days, I watched them prepare everything. Ashley hired a catering service. She sent out elegant invitations, bought decorations. She even put on my pearl necklace to try on the outfit. And I smiled, nodded, thanked them. While inside, I counted the hours for the day of truth to arrive. The night before the party, I could not sleep. I sat on the little bed in the guest room, with David's photo in my hands. Tomorrow, my love. I whispered to the photograph. Tomorrow, I recover our dignity. Forgive me for taking so long. And when the sun came up that Saturday in December, I got up being another woman, the woman I should have been from the beginning. They prepared a party to celebrate their victory, but they did not know I had prepared something much better, an ending they would never forget. Saturday dawned cold and clear. From my window in the guest room, I saw how the catering employees arrived with boxes, folding tables, ivory tablecloths. Ashley directed them like a war general, with her designer sweatpants and hair in a perfect bun. No, the tables go in a U shape. In a U. Is it so hard to understand? Her voice went through the walls. I dressed slowly. A simple brown dress David gave me years ago. Nothing elegant, nothing that called attention. Exactly what Ashley would expect from poor Emily. I went down to the kitchen around 10. Lily was sitting on the living room floor playing with her dolls. Seeing me, she ran to me. Grandma Emily. Mommy says today is your party. Are you going to blow candles? I hugged her tight, breathing the smell of baby shampoo in her hair. Yes, my love, there will be candles. And cake? And cake? Ashley appeared from the dining room. Lily, stop bothering your grandmother. Go to your room and play. Then she looked at me. Emily, everything is ready. You just sit and let us take care of it. It is your day, my day. How ironic. Thank you, honey, I said with a soft voice. How kind you are. Her smile was pure acting. It is the least we can do. After all, you are family. Family. The word burned my throat. The hours passed in slow motion. I sat in a garden chair, pretending to be tired, gone, while observing the preparations. The tables turned out beautiful. White flowers in centerpieces. Rented china. A candy table with a sign that said, Happy birthday, Emily, 68 years. At 4 p.m, the guests started to arrive. My sister Susan with her husband, my cousins Hector and Mary, some neighbors, friends of Michael I had not seen for years, and Danielle, my niece, who arrived with a navy blue dress and a smile that only I could interpret. Everything ready, Aunt. Mr. Arthur was also there. They had invited him without knowing who he really was. A friend from the park who appreciates Mom very much. I had said days before. Michael did not even ask more. And finally, the special guest no one expected. An officer from the family court, dressed as a civilian, mixed among the guests, with the legal documents in an envelope inside his jacket. Everyone hugged me, congratulated me. Emily, what a nice party. You look very well. What nice children you have. Organizing all this. If they knew, Michael and Ashley played their role to perfection. He took my arm, guided me to the main table. She served me punch, offered me snacks. Eat, Emily. Everything is delicious. The great performance in front of the public. At 5:30, Michael asked for attention, tapping a glass with a knife. Everyone went silent. Well, family and friends, thank you for joining us today. As you know, we are here to celebrate the most important woman in my life, my mom. He looked at me with bright eyes. Fake, completely fake. Mom, sorry for having forgotten your birthday last month. I was going through health problems and Well, I got distracted, but today I want to make up for it. I want you to know that I love you, that everything I do is for you, for your well-being." Some guests sighed emotionally. My sister Susan had tears in her eyes. Poor thing, she knew nothing. Ashley approached then with a box wrapped in gold paper. "Emily, this is our gift, for you." Everyone applauded. They passed me the box. I opened it slowly. It was a digital photo frame, the kind that cycles photos automatically. It already came loaded with images of the family, baby Michael, child Michael, Michael graduating, his wedding, Lily being born, not a single photo of David and me. "It is beautiful," I murmured. "Thank you. And we have another surprise," Ashley announced, taking Michael's hand. "We wanted to tell you that we have been thinking about the future. About your future, Emily." The garden went silent. "We know this house is very big for you, that it is hard for you to maintain it, that you feel alone." Michael spoke with a calm, practiced voice. "That is why. We are looking for a more comfortable place for you, a beautiful nursing home upstate, with gardens, nurses, activities. You are going to be very well taken care of." Gasps of surprise among the guests. "And the house?" asked my sister Susan with a frown. "The house we are going to sell," Ashley answered naturally. "With that money, we ensure Emily's future in the residence. And Michael, Lily and I can finally have a home of our own. It is the best for everyone." I saw the faces of the guests. Some nodded, thinking it sounded reasonable. Others seemed uncomfortable. Mr. Arthur looked at me, waiting for my signal. Danielle squeezed her cup of punch with so much force I thought she would break it. "Actually," continued Michael, taking some papers out of his jacket pocket, "Mom already signed the documents that give us authorization to proceed, because she understands. She knows this is the best." He showed the papers to the guests, the fake ones, the ones that were useless, but they did not know it. Ashley smiled. Susan cried, thinking it was something emotional, and Michael looked at me expecting me to nod like the submissive little old lady he thought I was. I breathed deep, and I smiled, a smile that froze him. "They all celebrated," I said with a clear voice, louder than I had spoken in months. I just smiled and said, "Son, you really do not know, do you?" Michael froze. The color drained from his face. Ashley frowned. "Know what?" I got up from the chair. Everyone looked at me. "Know that those papers you have in your hand are useless, that they are fake copies, that they never had any power over my assets." Absolute silence. Michael looked at the documents as if they were going to burn him. "What?" "Know that I have recorded all your conversations, every plan, every lie, the trap at the hospital, the fake doctor, everything." Ashley took a step back. "You are confused, Emily. No, Ashley. For the first time in months, I am completely lucid." I took my cell phone out of my pocket. "Do you want to listen?" And there, in front of all the guests, I played the recordings. Ashley's voice. We have her well controlled. She is pathetic, honestly. Michael's voice. And if she gets angry later? Cousin Robert's voice. The old lady is going to arrive desperate, hysterical. The garden filled with scandalized whispers. Susan put her hands to her mouth. The neighbors looked at each other. Mary shook her head, incredulous. Ashley tried to take my cell phone. "That is illegal. You cannot record without permission, in my own house, protecting my assets from fraud." "Yes, I can," I answered calmly. "And I have witnesses. I have evidence. And I have something else." I looked at Mr. Arthur. He nodded. "Emily." Michael's voice trembled. "Mom, please, I can explain." "No, not anymore." I looked him in the eyes. I had 8 months to listen to explanations. 8 months enduring humiliations, being a servant in my own house, watching how you planned to rob me of everything, waiting for you to react at some moment, for you to remember who raised you, who loved you unconditionally. Tears rolled down my cheeks, but they were not tears of sadness. They were liberation, and the worst of all, Michael. Is not that Ashley manipulated you. It is that you let her, that you chose to believe her and betray your own mother. He tried to get closer. Mom, do not touch me. I took a step back, and then Mr. Arthur approached with the court officer. Guadalupe Fisher has a formal complaint filed against you two, said the officer with a firm voice, for fraud, extortion, financial abuse, and conspiracy to falsely declare an elderly person incompetent. The guests erupted in murmurs. Ashley went pale. This is a misunderstanding. It is no misunderstanding, intervened Danielle, approaching. We have all the necessary evidence. And now you have two options. The garden turned into an improvised court. The guests formed a semicircle around us, some with open mouths, others with eyes full of tears. The birthday cake remained intact on the table, with its candles unlit, like a mute witness to everything. Danielle took a folder out of her bag. All her movements were precise, professional. Option 1, she said with a firm voice, opening the folder for everyone to see the official documents. Full criminal charges proceed. Asset fraud, 3 to 12 years in prison. Domestic violence, 6 months to 4 years. Conspiracy to falsely declare an elderly person incompetent. Aggravating factor. That can add up to 5 more years, plus reparation of moral and financial damage. Ashley trembled. Michael seemed about to faint. Option 2, continued Danielle, closing the folder. Michael and Ashley leave this house today. You take only your personal clothes and objects you can prove you bought with your money. You sign a document waiving any future claim on this property, and Michael agrees to attend mandatory family therapy if he wishes, one day, to rebuild the relationship with his mother. And Lily? My voice came out broken. Why was that girl the only innocent thing in all this? Lily stays temporarily with her grandmother. Under provisional custody, explained Danielle. She herself asked to stay with you when we explained her parents would have to leave. Ashley can visit her under supervision until the definitive situation is resolved. Ashley exploded. You cannot take my daughter. This is kidnapping. This is child protection, responded the court officer. The girl was living in an environment where a crime was being committed. The judge already authorized it. Ashley's eyes shot fire. She looked at me with hatred so pure I felt cold. This is all your fault, you stupid old woman. If you had given us what corresponded to us from the beginning. What corresponded to you? My sister Susan took a step forward, with her voice trembling with indignation. Corresponded? This house was built by Emily and David with 40 years of work. You did not put in a single dollar. How dare you? Because he is her son, yelled Ashley. Because he deserves it more than her. Because she is already old and already lived her life. Now it is our turn. The silence that followed was deathly. Even the banquet employees had stopped working to observe. Ashley, I said with a calm I did not know where I was getting from. I received you in my house when you were left without a place to live. I opened my door to you, gave you a roof, food. I took care of your daughter as if she were my own blood. And you called me pathetic. You took my room, my dignity. You planned to steal everything from me. And worst of all, you turned my son into a thief. I turned toward Michael. He could not look me in the eyes. Mom. His voice was barely a whisper. I did not want it to come to this. You did not want? Seriously? My voice rose for the first time. 48 years contained in that scream. Michael, you planned to deceive me with a fake hospital. You signed papers to declare me incompetent. You let me sleep in the guest room while she used my pearl necklace. And you did not want it to come to this? Tears finally sprang from his eyes, but it was already late. I thought it was the best, that you would be fine in a home, that we could. Could what? Mr. Arthur spoke for the first time since everything started. His voice sounded like that of a disappointed father. Could live in a stolen house? Sleep in a bed bought with a mother's pain? Look that girl in the eyes and tell her you betrayed her grandmother to give her a better life? Michael covered his face with his hands. My sister Susan approached him. Michael Fisher, I have known you since you were born. I saw how Emily took care of you when you had pneumonia at 5 years old, 3 nights without sleeping, praying for you to survive. I saw how your father worked double shifts for years to pay for your college, and this is how you pay them. You should be ashamed. I am ashamed. He cried, I am ashamed. Ashley pulled his arm. Do not tell them anything else. Michael, let's go. We will get a better lawyer. This is not going to stay like this. Yes, it is going to stay like this. Danielle's voice was pure ice. Because if you do not accept option 2 right now, in this instant I will proceed with the full complaint. And I assure you that with all these people as witnesses of your attitude, of how you treated her, of how you just confirmed everything in front of everyone, you are not going to have an escape. Ashley opened her mouth to respond, but Michael interrupted her. I accept. His voice sounded broken. I accept option 2. What? Ashley looked at him as if he had just stabbed her. I accept Ashley. Enough. Enough already. Look what we did. Look what I let you do to us. He turned toward me with red eyes. Mom, I'm sorry. I know it is useless. I know I lost you. But I am sorry. I did not answer. I could not. The words got stuck in my throat. Mr. Arthur took out the documents. Sign here and here. Waiver of claims. Commitment to immediate move out. And here Michael, the therapy commitment. Michael signed with a trembling hand. Ashley refused at first, but when the officer explained the alternative was being arrested immediately, she also signed. With so much force, she tore the paper. You have 2 hours to get your things out, said Danielle, reviewing the documents. The guests were still there, immobile, processing everything they had just witnessed. Michael and Ashley went up the stairs. We heard them opening drawers, dragging suitcases. Ashley screamed, threw things. Michael packed in silence. My cousin Hector approached me. Emily. If we had known, no one knew. I did not want you to know. I was ashamed. I wiped my tears, ashamed to admit that my own son was destroying me. Susan hugged me. It is over, sister. It is over. But it was not over. The hardest part was still missing. Lily came down the stairs with her unicorn backpack. She'd confused, scared eyes. Grandma Emily. Mommy says I'm going with them. I knelt in front of her, taking her little hands. My love, do you want to go? She shook her head, with lips trembling. I want to stay with you. Mommy and Daddy fight a lot. And you make me cookies and read me stories? My heart broke. Then you stay with me, precious. It is arranged. Mommy will come to visit you often. Ashley came down in that moment with 3 suitcases. Hearing that, she dropped the suitcases with a crash. You cannot keep my daughter. The judge already determined it, repeated Danielle. Provisional custody to the grandmother. Supervised visits for the mother. Or proceed on the charges and lose even that. Ashley knelt in front of Lily, taking her by the shoulders. My daughter. We are going to be fine. We are going to get a new house. Beautiful. We do not need anyone. Lily looked at her and said something no one expected. Why did you say ugly things to my grandma, Mommy? I heard you. You called her old and pathetic. The garden went silent. Ashley went pale. You do not understand. I do understand. She is good, and you were bad to her. Lily let go of her hands and clung to my leg. Ashley stayed there, kneeling, watching how her own daughter rejected her. Michael came down with his suitcase, avoided looking at everyone. Ashley, let's go. My daughter. Ashley, let's go. They left through the garden gate. without saying anything else, without looking back. Ashley sobbed. Michael walked with slumped shoulders, like a defeated man, and I watched them go, the son I had raised, the woman who had poisoned him. The door closed, and for the first time in 8 months, I breathed. They were gone. And although my heart was broken, I could finally start to heal. The garden was still full of stunned guests. No one had moved since Michael and Ashley crossed that door. The silence was so dense you could hear the wind moving the purple flowers. Lily was still clinging to my leg, with her little face buried in my dress. I stroked her hair slowly, trying to transmit the calm I myself was barely finding. Susan broke the silence. "Anyone want cake?" Several guests let out nervous laughs. It was absurd. We had just lived a devastating family drama and she offered cake. But that was my sister, practical even in crises. "Yes," I said, with a voice firmer than I expected. "Let's cut the cake. After all, it is still my birthday." The banquet employees, who had been paralyzed against the wall, reacted. They lit the candles. The golden light danced on the white frosting. Everyone sang "Happy Birthday," with trembling voices at first, but gaining strength. And when the moment came to blow the candles, I closed my eyes and made a wish. I did not ask for Michael to come back. I did not ask for everything to be like before. I asked for strength, to move forward, to rebuild what had been broken. I blew. The candles went out all at once. Lily clapped. "You did it, Grandma." "Yes, honey, I did it." The guests started approaching one by one, some with tears in their eyes, others with contained rage, all with words of support. "Emily, you did the right thing," said my cousin Mary, hugging me tight. "No one deserves to be treated like that. No one." The neighbors, who so many times saw Ashley treat me like a servant in my own garden, also approached. "Mrs. Fisher, if we had known, if you had told us something, they would not have been able to do anything." I answered sincerely. This was something I had to resolve. I had to learn to defend myself. Mr. Arthur sat next to me on one of the garden chairs. "You did well, Emily. You were brave when you needed it most." I did not feel brave. I felt terrified. That is exactly what courage is. Doing the right thing even if you are afraid. He patted my hand. And now comes the hard part, harder than this. He smiled sadly. "Healing. Forgiving. Not them necessarily, but yourself, for having allowed it to go so far." Those words soaked deep, because he was right. A part of me was angry with myself for having been blind, for having endured so much. The party continued, although with a completely different tone than planned. It was no longer a celebration. It was more like a collective healing gathering. People ate, spoke in low voices, hugged me every so often, at 8 at night. The last guests left. Susan offered to stay, but I told her I would be fine. Danielle helped clean up along with the banquet employees. Mr. Arthur said goodbye with a long hug. "If you need me, you know where to find me. Every day at the park, at 9 in the morning, I will be there." When everyone left, I took Lily up to what would now be her room. The guest room Ashley never let me use for her because she needed space for her recording equipment. I helped her put on her pajamas. It was Minnie Mouse, pink with white bows. While I brushed her hair, she asked me, "Grandma, are Mommy and Daddy going to come back? Your Mommy is going to come visit you very soon, my love, and your Daddy needs some time to think about the things he did. Did he do something bad? How do you explain to a 3-year-old girl that her father tried to rob her grandmother, that ambition and manipulation destroyed her family? He made mistakes, honey, big mistakes. But we all make mistakes. The difference is if we learn from them or not. Did you make mistakes, Grandma?" Her question hit me. Yes, precious. Many. I let them treat me badly. I did not defend myself when I should have. I thought if I endured everything, things would improve on their own. And did they improve? No. I had to make them improve myself. I tucked her in bed. I read her favorite story, The Little Prince, until her little eyes closed. I kissed her forehead and went out slowly. I stayed in the hallway, looking at the doors. My room was now empty. Michael and Ashley had taken their things, their smells, their presents. I entered. It still smelled of Ashley's perfume. The walls were still with the colors she had chosen. Gray, cold, impersonal. I opened the windows wide. I let the night air enter. Tomorrow I would start to restore everything, to return this space to what it was, mine. I went down to the kitchen and made myself a chamomile tea. I sat at the table, the same table where so many times I ate alone while they partied upstairs, and I let the emotions of the day catch up to me. I cried. I cried like I had not cried in months, but they were not tears of defeat. They were tears of liberation, of processed pain, of mourning for the son I had lost, not to death, but to greed. My cell phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. It was Michael. Mom, I know I have no right to ask you for anything. I know I ruined everything. But I want you to know that. You are right in everything, and I need help. I start therapy on Tuesday. I do not know if someday you can forgive me. But I am going to try to be the man I should have always been, the son you deserved. I love you, although it does not seem like it, although I forgot it for a while. I love you. I read the message 3 times. My first instinct was to delete it, not answer, leave him with his guilt. But then I remembered Mr. Arthur's words. Forgiving does not mean forgetting. It means freeing yourself from the weight of resentment. I did not answer that night, but I did not delete the message either. The following days were strange. The house felt huge and silent, but also mine, completely mine. I hired a company to repaint my room. I put David's photos back on the walls. I recovered my jewelry from the jewelry box. The pearl necklace went back to its place in the carved wooden chest my grandmother gave me. Lily adapted surprisingly fast. She played in the garden, helped me cook. In the afternoons, we went to the city park, and she ran after the pigeons while I talked with Mr. Arthur. Ashley came to visit her 2 weeks later, with Danielle present as supervisor. It was uncomfortable. Ashley avoided looking at me. Lily was polite but distant with her. "Honey, Mommy misses you," Ashley told her with a broken voice. "I miss you too, Mommy, but I like being with Grandma." I did not hear from Michael directly again. Danielle informed me that he was effectively in therapy, that he had moved to a small apartment across town, that he had broken up with Ashley. She did not accept therapy. She only blamed everyone except herself. 3 months after the day of the party, I received another call from Danielle. "Aunt, Michael wants to know if you would accept a family therapy session with him. His psychologist says he is ready, that he has worked a lot on understanding what he did. And what do you think? I think it is your decision. No one can force you to forgive him, but I also think that he is trying. For real." I thought about it for days. I spoke with Mr. Arthur, with Susan, with Lily even, although she did not understand completely, and finally, I accepted. The session was in the psychologist's office, a small office with comfortable armchairs and a plant in the corner. Michael arrived 10 minutes before me. He was thinner, deep circles under his eyes, beard of several days. When he saw me enter, he stood up immediately. "Mom, sit down, Michael." The session lasted 2 hours. It was painful, brutally honest. Michael cried. I cried. The psychologist guided us through every wound, every lie, every moment he chose to betray me. "I have no excuses," he said, with a broken voice. "Ashley manipulated me. Yes, but I let her. I chose to believe that you were the problem, that you deserved less because you had already lived your life. And I was wrong. I was so blinded by ambition, by wanting to have more, that I forgot everything you and Dad taught me." "And now what?" I asked. Do you expect me to forgive you and everything goes back to how it was before? No. I know that is never going to happen. I broke something that has no complete repair. But I want to try to rebuild something new, not as it was, but as it can be, if you give me that opportunity. I looked at that man in front of me, my son, the boy I had carried in my arms, the rebellious teenager, the adult who betrayed me. I do not know if I can, Michael. It still hurts too much. I understand, and I will wait, as long as necessary. We left the office without hugging, without promises, but with something we did not have before: honesty. 6 months after the day of the party, life had found a new rhythm. Lily went to a kindergarten near home. She loved it. Ashley visited her every 2 weeks. Michael saw her on Sundays, always in my presence. Little by little, he rebuilt his relationship with his daughter. With me, there was still distance, but it was no longer an impassable abyss. It was rather a bridge under construction, slow, fragile, but existing. One afternoon in July, almost 9 months after everything, I was in the garden pruning the flowers when Michael arrived. "Mom, can I talk to you?" Always. He sat on the wrought iron bench, the same one where David used to read the newspaper on Sundays. I got a new job at an accounting firm. It does not pay much, but it is honest, and I am saving to pay you back the money for the wedding and compensate even a little for everything I spent living here. You do not need to. Yes, I need to, Mom. I need to do it. For me. To be able to look at myself in the mirror and know I am trying to repair at least a part of the damage. I looked at him. He was no longer the arrogant man who took my room. He was someone humble, broken, but trying to rebuild himself. "It is okay, son. I accept." He nodded with wet eyes. "Thank you." He stayed a while longer, played with Lily in the garden, helped me move some pots, and when he left, he hugged me. A short hug. Shy, but real. "I love you, Mom. I love you too, son, although it is hard for me." He smiled sadly. "I know, and I understand." Today, while I write this almost 2 years later, I look at my house, my recovered house. The flowers continue growing purple and beautiful. Lily is 5 years old and helps me bake cookies every Saturday. Michael comes to dinner once a month. There are still uncomfortable moments. There is still pain that has not gone completely, but there is also something new: dignity. The dignity I recovered the day I decided to defend myself. The dignity I now protect with tooth and nail. Ashley tried to sue me for Lily's custody. She lost. The judges saw all the evidence. Now she has very limited visits. Michael got divorced 6 months ago. He says it was the best thing he could do. Mr. Arthur continues being my friend. Every day at 9 in the park. Susan comes to visit me every week. Danielle is the legal administrator of my assets. By my choice, not by imposition. And I went back to being Emily Fisher. Not the victim, not the pathetic old lady, but the woman who built a life, who defended it when it was necessary, who learned that self-love is not selfishness, it is survival. If you are listening to this story and you feel identified, if someone in your family is making you feel invisible, useless, a nuisance, listen to me well. You are not invisible. You are not a nuisance. It does not matter your age. It does not matter if they are your children, your grandchildren, your siblings. Your dignity is not negotiable. Your house is yours. Your life is yours. Your voice matters. And never, never. Is it too late to defend yourself? I did it at 68 years old, when I thought everything was already lost, when I believed I had to endure because that is how families are. When the fear of loneliness almost destroyed me. But I stood up, and if I could, you can too. Because true wealth is not in the houses you inherit, nor in the money you accumulate. It is in the dignity you never allow them to take away. If this story reached your heart, leave me your comment telling me where you are watching us from. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it. Because sometimes, knowing we are not alone is the first step to defend ourselves. Like, subscribe to the channel for more stories of women who decided not to give up. And remember, it is never too late to recover what is yours. See you in the next story. With a brave heart, always.